Hello, I am so happy to finally be reading your chart. And before I start, I don't know if you can hear, my upstairs neighbor is a musician and he is singing so loud and playing the piano. But I didn't turn my music on because it sounds nice. I like it, but I don't know if you can hear it. So if you hear that in the background, that's my neighbor and he's going for it. Sings really good. So that's that. And before we start, want to just call in sacred space. So for me, I like to call in the elements of earth for grounded support while learning something new, water for clear, current, emotional clarity, and the ability of water, the reflective abilities of water, air for that fresh information that we're able to receive that flow coming in, fire for action, for inspiration, to take action on what we hear coming in, and also for spirit, for just uniting all of the elements together, bringing this information through in a way that is most meaningful, most joyful, potent, and beneficial to you in this time of your life. I like to call in my higher self, your higher self, really gathering in the big energy to bring this reading through in its most beneficial way. Next, and for you to, get water, have a paper and pen, light a candle, whatever it is that makes you feel like you're in a sacred space. So we start by looking at the lineage, and from this we look at the moon and the south node. So let's see, we call this a Leo job in the Aquarius tribe because south node is in the 5th house, similar energy of Leo. And your moon is in Aquarius. So you see all the notes that I've made there. I could go on and on, but I'm going to get as much as I can here in 30 minutes. So moon is the Aquarius tribe. We talked about this because we have a similar affinity for Aquarius. So as a kid, this Aquarius moon would be like that tribe of people who are otherworldly, like out of this world, actually. And for a lot of people with Aquarius moon, a common thing that they all say that at some point they felt like they were misplaced, in the wrong family or just so different from their family, like not even able to really fully connect to the group that you were born in. That's something that people often say when they have an Aquarius moon is like, either they were adopted or they felt like they were adopted, or what one guy said was that he wished he would have been adopted. Like he wished somebody would come and adopt him from his family. So he had an Aquarius moon. I thought that was just tickled me. It's so funny. I mean, not when you're in the situation, it's sad to think about a little boy there like, somebody please come adopt me from these idiots, as he put it. So the Leo job, so we get the tribe, they're innovative, very out of the box. There is no box for Aquarius moon. They're very floating through infinity and being able to really understand what they're experiencing in that sort of. I've never done acid or anything like that, but it reminds me of that, like being on an acid trip almost, where you're just like feeling all the connections and really being in it. And then talking, like, don't you guys see this? And they don't. And so you're just like alone in a way. Then with the Leo job, your specialty in that tribe would be the one that was on stage, bright, radiant, shiny, being on stage, and in a way that allows other people to also be, not allows, but encourages other people actually to be bright and shiny and radiant and on center stage of their own life. It's very moving type of lineage that you come from. So for this lineage of the moon, we want to be moving over into the rising sign. So for you, your new school, we call this the Aquarius job in the Aries tribe. So that is because your, sorry for the pause there, my brain. North node is in the 11th house, which is similar energy of Aquarius. And then the rising sign is here in Aries with a whole bunch of other stuff. I just want to make a note. You have Chiron conjunct your rising sign. So that basically says that you're learning about those Chiron mysteries. And I see Chiron as the alchemist. Some people call him the wounded healer. I like to think of Chiron as the alchemist, and it's like digesting wounds, digesting intensity, digesting things that may have been uncomfortable, and assimilating that, the poison from the events in life, and being able to like get energy from that and be empowered by that. So from the lineage to the new school, Aquarius job and the Aries tribe. So you really liked Aquarius. That's so much that you're like, yes, I'm good at this. I'm going to keep rolling with this sort of innovative, otherworldly, cosmic fairy dust in a way. And then being fierce with it because your rising sign is in Aries. Learning how to be the Amazonian, fierce type of warrior-ess with a connection to infinity and the cosmos. So some of the common mistakes for the Aries woman, you know, learning how to do, so my teacher says that the rising sign will bring, we're going to mess up a little bit. It's like signing up for college into something that you're not a professional in. You know, that's why you're going there to learn about it. You're coming here to learn about how to be the warrior princess. And some of the mistakes that you might make, being too quick, too direct, too sharp, too pointy. You know, I think of the nose because in looking at the face, sometimes Aries will be pointy, like have sharp features. Being too sharp, too direct, to the expense of, you know, honoring your own softness. Because as we're looking at the chart, we know that we are all of it in different variations. So in the rising sign being sharp, you know, we still want to honor the sensitivity and the softness as well. So anyway, those are some of the mistakes. But initially, the overall intention is to learn how to be that warrior with fairy dust because you got the Aquarius energy there. So Aries tribe wants to protect and wants to be fierce. And having that Aquarius job wants to also be magical, connected to the light, in the light body, in a meditative state. That's powerful, you know, being able to be fierce and translucent, transparent, connecting to infinity. That's beautiful. So next thing we'll cover is the inner feminine, inner masculine. So for you, you have, like we talked about, I did want to mention that when things, so there's the North Node, Venus and Moon all together here. I like to think about that like a soup. You know, we put all that stuff together and we can separate it to talk about it and get to know them separately. But really, it's like, you know, we pour it all in together into the primordial stew. And when we want to talk about your lineage, we're going to see the feminine essence of Venus. When we talk about your inner feminine as the way that you are embracing the goddess, we're going to see the emotions and the connection to the mother and the lineage. And also the North Node being our North Star or our destiny point of what we are coming here to the way we get enlightenment, the way we reach enlightenment is sometimes seen through the North Node, because that's like the destiny point. So putting those all together, it's like this is telling me that Aquarius, because that's in the 11th house even, you know, it's all 11th house is similar energy of Aquarius, and all this stuff is here in the sign of Aquarius. You know, you're really working that ethereal, meditative, light body goddess, being in her light body, tuned into the emotions at the level of light. Oh, so it's so potent, you know. I wonder how your meditations are. If you're really able to go there through your body or through your mind, or how you get into that meditative state. So Venus, I like to mix it with the rising sign to get a really good look at the form of the goddess that you are here embodying. So that would be Aquarius and Aries. So it's the same feature of what is your new school. So you're really rocking that whole goddess, that, you know, that warrior. I keep seeing like the princess warrior. So over the holiday, I watched a lot of, it's going to sound funny maybe, but Tinkerbell movies. I never was a Tinkerbell fan growing up, but she's a badass. There was like, and then not just her, but like her whole crew. So one of the movies, I'll send you a link because you might really like it. It was like a beast was in there, and there was like the whole tribe of the protectors of the fairies. And, you know, it's sort of a combination of that, you know, of being able to fly and still being fierce and badass from a graceful way, you know. It's a different kind. It's not Xena, the princess warrior. It's like there's this real, it's like a warrior-ess who is just magical. And I just can only see a fairy, so I'm going to leave it at that. Next thing we'll look at is your masculine. The inner masculine is the form of the God that we most wish to connect with, and basically that's us. It's, you know, your inner masculine. What we usually do is see it on the outside, and we like it because it's like what we're holding within, and so we want to bring that in. But when actuality, the best thing to do would be to feed that archetype from the inside, so that you're not longing and desiring for somebody from the outside to feel that, and you're able to receive men in your life as they are instead of who you want them to be. And for you, you have your Mars in Capricorn, and then we look at the descendant. So over here, who am I? So this is the mystery you're learning about. And then who are you? So this is what you're most attracted to in a romantic partner. And we combine Mars with the descendant to get an idea. We have Capricorn and Libra. So your form of the masculine is like, he looks like a brick wall almost. Like, not a brick wall, but like he's strong and sturdy, because Capricorn as and it doesn't have to be physically strong and sturdy, although it looks like that to me. It could be internally strong and sturdy. He is capable of setting structure for the next 7 generations. He is the structure for he might be the chief, the CEO, the boss. Actually, you would like that, you know, because Capricorn as the inner masculine wants that, to have the chief of the tribe as the partner. But ultimately, we know that it's you. Your inner masculine is the chief. And then putting Libra, we mix those together. So this is so nice because it's like the chief who actually wants to be in a relationship. You know, he's not the chief with Gemini, who's like the chief, but wants to be flitting around with all the ladies, you know? He wants to be in a co-creative relationship with one person. And actually, he experiences divinity through that primary relationship. So that's your inner masculine. And the idea is, like what I said, that you would feed that, own that as your own. I made a board actually where I put images of my inner feminine and my inner masculine. Let me just pause this and go grab. It's really old and it's been by my altar. I did this a long time ago, but so my inner masculine is Scorpio and Pisces, and my inner feminine is Taurus and Aquarius. So I put together images, you know, this is the shamanic stuff from Pisces and Scorpio. This is the Aquarius. This has to do with, I have a grand water trine. Over here is this Aquarius connecting to sacred geometry, but also being in the body with the kind of Kundalini, which represented also the, you know, the Scorpio. And here we have, I feel like, just really representing Taurus, having that like sexy body, and Aquarius. So making something like that for yourself, which is a really strong visual. Oh, and let me not forget these belly dancers who are super sensual, really embodying what I thought to be embodying everything. Aquarius, because all the sacred geometry looking stuff and the colors, and the bodies of Taurus and the dancing of Scorpio, and then just the feminine essence of, so putting something together like that, that you can see it every day right on your altar, because altars alter our consciousness. Having that there can really be a way to start doing the sacred marriage. So marrying your own inner feminine to your own inner masculine, so that you are fully connected within. And it really, really improves the relationship to the masculine on the outside. Believe it or not, because it seems like when my first impression was like, well, then I won't need him anymore. Bingo, you won't, but then you still want him. And he doesn't feel needed, he feels wanted, which is so much more attractive. And, you know, it really works really good. So there's that, inner feminine, inner masculine. The next thing we'll talk about is the midheaven, which you have Mars right next to the midheaven at a tight conjunction, really tight. So that says that really using that Capricorn, your inner masculine will be helpful in your work. I'm not exactly sure what your work is, so it doesn't have to be work, doesn't have to be career. It can be the contribution to the world, which is what is intended to be, that all humans would have some strong desire to contribute in some way. And for you, whatever way you're contributing is going to have a structure. It's going to be feeding, and not with necessarily food, but feeding the next 7 generations. It's going to be, you know, who has this? Madonna. And I see that like setting up a sort of dynasty that lives on way after her. So that's what Capricorn as the midheaven wants to do. Set up something that is sustaining, self-sustaining. And then for the home and roots, it's directly below the midheaven. Over here, you have Cancer on the home and roots, which says to me that your home, I sometimes like to think of this as the nest you emerge from. So for you, it really is that, you know, comfy home. There's, you know, a lot of beautiful things around your house. Your home is, you know, I'm imagining that there's beautiful things, statues, and, you know, also a very homey feel, like big pillows and cushions and comfy spaces, and probably full kitchen of everything you would need to cook food, and maybe even a garden. You know, Cancer on the home and roots is saying that the nest you emerge from, the place you go as a sanctuary to retreat from the world, is going to be really comfy, really nurturing, loving, and providing the soup in the belly, you know, that warm feeling of soup in the belly and comfy pillows to lay on and lounge up against. So that pretty much covers the four corners, and I kind of went over it fast because I have a feeling I didn't need to explain so much, that you kind of already get a lot of the nuances of astrology. So I have time to do some of the timings. So the timings, here in the center is the moment you were born, the map of the sky, the moment you were born. Out here on the outer circle is the map of the sky right now, and I actually put this for the 12th of January for the next full moon we have coming up, because it's fun for me since that energy is so big and potent. And the first thing is Pluto is directly over Vesta. Vesta, I like to think about it as the hearth. You know, it's like that fire that we keep the fires burning, the home fires burning. It's similar to Virgo in a way, like about your sacred work, but it doesn't necessarily have to be work. It's more about what is sacred to you. So it looks to me like the fire in the heart, and what feeds that fire. And sometimes I think about the sacred heart. Sometimes I think about the sacred hearth, because that fire, but it definitely revolves around that feeling in the heart where it's like, what's most important to your inner fire. And it's not just work. It's like a culmination of everything that really keeps you going, you know? So Pluto, okay, Vesta, the sacred work, sacred heart, sacred hearth. And then Pluto is directly over Vesta for you. So this to me feels like activating what's sacred to you. And it's in the 10th house, near the mid-house. So I just wonder about your work right now, like the way you're contributing to the world. And how is that a reflection of what is within you? Because Pluto's activating that. And when Pluto activates anything, it's like an underworld experience. And the meaning of it, the intention of it, is to break away any of the illusions, like that little sparkly illusion stuff that is between you and you. So Pluto comes and just breaks all that down, and it can be sometimes painful because we have an attachment to our own illusions. Pluto breaks that down so that you can get closer to what is actually sacred to you. And so that you're in that cycle right now. So I'd be interested, if you want to share about what does that look like for you right now? Like, do you feel that right now? Like, are you feeling any activations from Pluto, which would be an underworld activation meant to really empower you? So when stuff has to drop away, like, you know, I mentioned to you, I had lost my best friend. I feel like I lost my best friend because I don't know if I'm gonna, you know, if our relationship will ever be the same. And that brought up a lot of stuff for me, you know. So when something happens, then we have to really evaluate and look at whatever that material is. So right now, Pluto activating your Vesta, I'm just curious, you know, like, is there anything going on right now that has to do with, or maybe another thing too, it doesn't have to be like anything's getting broken down, because maybe there's no breakdown. Maybe you're already living from your full radiance of your heart. And really, maybe it is all sacred. And your sacred work in the world, maybe it already is a pure reflection of what you're holding on the inner. So I would love to know that. The next thing that's exact right now is, excuse me, is Uranus going over Mercury. And as you know, Mercury is retrograde. Is it still retrograde? Oh, sorry. I think Mercury already went direct, but I'm not sure. I don't even know what today. Oh, no, not yet. Oh, yes, it did. Oh, my God. Sorry. I have really been in a time, I'm calling it a time out of time, because life has just been unreal, but exciting. So I will tell you a little bit more about that, because I haven't been fully, you've been really sharing with me, and I really want to share a little bit more with you. So I will in an email. So Uranus going over Mercury would be, Uranus's intention is to knock us on our assemblage point, to like change our assemblage point. So like everything that seems normal to you right now, so relating to Mercury, Mercury is the way that you communicate, your singing, your videos. Uranus would want to like flick you off your chair or knock you upside your head to, give you a little stutter, and then it's a shift in your normal. Whatever's normal to you, it's like wants to shake you up. I'm in a Uranus cycle right now myself, and I feel it. I'm really feeling that. One more thing I wanted to check, because Pluto and Uranus are square to each other right now. So we're really going through a very similar experience. It's different because mine is, so I have Pluto activating my natal moon right now, and Uranus activating my natal moon. So it's really intense for me. This is a celestial underworld. But because Pluto and Uranus are square to each other in the big sky, it's like everybody's sort of getting this celestial underworld. Let's see, there's Uranus, there's Pluto. So see, they're square to each other right now in the big sky, and it is hitting personal planets for you, which means that what we are all experiencing, which is like a change in our assemblage point, like our country, for instance, we thought one thing, and then within one day, everything changed, and we're just like, wait, where am I? I don't know what to do. And then there's this intense fear, which Pluto can really bring up. So that we are collectively feeling, but those of us who have personal planets directly in that configuration are feeling it on such a deeper level. It's so personal for us, So real things happening, like my situation, my friend, like went nuts and did some crazy things, and he's my very best friend. So it felt like I went crazy for a while. I was just like, where am I? And, so Uranus wants to change our perspective and change our point of reference, not perspective, our point of reference. And Pluto wants us to own our power. So sometimes we have to go into that underworld, the dark, mucky spaces, when you have to stick your hand in the food disposal to like pull out what's in there, but then you move it and your dish disposal works and you're like, yes, I did it, and I didn't have to call the plumber. You feel great, but at the same time your hand is full of like disgusting things, and you're worried somebody's gonna, I am anyway, like, please nobody touch the button while my hand's in there to like, turn it on. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like elation for like, I did it, and then like all this like fear and gross and mucky. That's Uranus and Pluto in my very expressive way of explaining that. So that's just a little breakdown of what you might be experiencing in your life. And so you have a lot of red, the red things being the sort of challenging, giving us lots of these oppositions that I found there on your chart. Yeah, so I'm not going to do much more than that. I'm just going to leave it. That's a lot already. I feel like it's a lot to really digest, and take it slow, you know, go little by little, write down what you need to. Feel free to ask any questions, give any feedback. I really love it. Thank you so much. You're beautiful and wonderful, and I really, really am grateful for you, because really the first time you sent me a message, I was this close to just stopping what I was doing with doing the new moons and full moon readings, because I was like, oh, nobody cares. Everybody's doing that. It's, you know, but you were like, oh, I really like it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it again. And, you know, it's just maybe just what I needed. So thank you so much. I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you. So thanks. And I look forward to connecting with you soon.